It's not common at all, and I think it's important. And I think that the song
The
actually
Yankees
has a
won?
lot.
Holy crap.
Like has to like his like a summary of what's going on. So, that's why I thought I would talk about it.
Maybe just for like a minute.
Maybe for as long as I want to.
I would go with no on that one, Johanna. Maybe not as long as you want to.
Just the whole show will be about Nine Inch Nails, and it will derail really quickly.
Well, I know what Nine Inch Nails song Rick wants to play when he finally gets with Jesse.
Oh, she's so boring. It's like an after school
She's had like
special.
10 lines. She's had like 10 lines on the show.
I know, right?
She's not a fleshed out character yet. I
And
mean,
they're all like, I can fix it, or I can't fix it, or don't you dare fix
Hello?
it.
yeah, we hear you, Joe.
Yeah.
Oh,
Let's record, Joe.
it is recording. I put the
Oh,
volume down by accident and I couldn't hear you guys.
all right. Malik, you want to start us off?
Yeah.
Is that the baby?
Yeah, is the baby crying already?
No, that's the fucking cat.
That's not my son.
Oh,
My son's not. He's not crying right now. Y'all wouldn't be able to hear him. He's.
tell Senor Guapo we're recording right now,
Senor
Johanna.
Guapo, shut the fuck up.
Damn.
Your
I
cat
think
sounds like a baby.
you know what it is. He misses catching mice, and I think he like senses the mice in the walls, and it's driving him crazy. Just like the zombies outside the Wall of Alexandria are driving Sasha crazy. It's the same thing.
I'm telling you though, if everybody in the zombie apocalypse went hunting like Sasha, the zombie apocalypse would be over already.
No.
Okay, 1 second.
The trouble with zombies that they don't really talk about in this show at all is that there would be a lot of like heads. I mean, you chop off a head, right? Does that actually kill the zombie?
No.
Yeah. Yes.
The chopping off the head?
Yeah.
We've seen some heads walking around. We've seen some heads laying there
No.
with
Not
it
Yeah,
all.
moved.
think about it.
You
No.
gotta kill the brain.
There was that aquarium just filled with. Remember, the governor had just like heads all in like Futurama style jars.
Yeah.
The,
Yeah, you
chopping
gotta.
off the head isn't enough, and so like in theory there should be like all these like little line mines of like jaws like lying on the ground that could just bite you at any second. So like like walking through high grass and that time that the time that what's his name Bob got bit, like all of them should have been bit in the ankles at that point because there should have just been like you know a bunch of zombies that couldn't walk anymore, but they're just like floating around under the water, just ready to bite.
Um,
And another thing is that I don't understand why people still like when they're sitting down, they sit down like side to side. I would think by now people would know to sit down facing each other so they can watch each other's backs.
When did this occur?
Well, I mean it happens all the time, but in this episode, the two kids were sitting next to each other.
Oh, okay.
And it's like, do you really want to like have a blind spot that both you can't see? No, you just all you have to do is face each other, and then you can see the entire everything. It's like common sense that you think you would learn by now after like 2 or 3 years in a post-apocalyptic world.
They're in love, Lorenzo.
Everybody does
Uh,
it. They're not the only ones. Everybody does it.
what was this woman's name again? Deanna, right?
Tiana.
Deanna.
Oh, well, the draft is not happening tonight, Malik,
Yeah, so
which is kind of good because I gotta go to bed.
what's our topic basically? Our topic of discussion is just kind of breaking down the episode and
Yeah, we're just gonna discuss last
I don't.
Sunday
Th-
night's
I
episode.
don't think we're gonna. Let's not break it down. Let's just argue about it. Like so
We're just gonna discuss it. You don't have to say argue. Just say we're gonna
Yeah.
let's discuss last night's episode.
I think we should say argue. I mean, why
Argue,
like pull punches?
because we may agree on some things.
Yeah.
I don't feel like agreeing with anybody tonight.
Well, so you good. So I
Well,
can
I
say
don't agree
something.
with
I
that.
can I could say something that I know that you agree with, and then you just disagree with me just for the hell of it. That's
I might I might look for ways to like poke holes in anything you say. But I think the main topic that we should focus on is um, whether or not he's right.
should we doing so Johanna, I know you said you wanted to do the connection between the song and the episode. Should we do that connection after the debate? Where I can hand it
I'm
off to you after the debate, like we push through, we debate it, and then I find a way to kind of transition that into you, like anything new, like because it's like a
I think though it serves as like a thematic introduction, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's like if it's just like 10 or 20 seconds, it should be fine.
A minute, 2 minutes.
all
I
right.
don't feel like agreeing with you, Lorenzo. So
Then you know what? It probably it's probably best if anything for you to intro the show, and just kind of jump in with your intro about the thematic introduction of the episode, right? Um,
but Malik, you're so much better at the intro.
well, it's because what I'm introducing the debate
Oh,
portion,
I
right?
see.
So
Okay.
because you have something else to kind of tie everything in. Like I'm thinking it's probably best served to be in the back end, but I don't want it to be in the back end if it's an introduction. So if it's an introduction of
Yeah.
the episode, then let's have you just kind of start the discussion. Just start talking about it. Like, hey guys, so I watched the episode of, you know what I mean? Like something like that.
Yeah.
Like, where you start the
Or
discussion
just
off, and
like,
this is kind of what I
yeah.
came up with.
Yep.
Right? And so we won't do an official intro the way we usually do it. We'll just kind of start it off as an organic conversation, and you'll just kick it off with, I saw the episode and this is what I thought about it, and then we kind of just go.
And how
from there.
about if we'll start the show off with the actual song? How about that?
We always do.
No,
No, he's talking about
The actual
somewhat
song.
damaged.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Somewhat damaged.
Absolutely. Yeah, that sounds best because if me introducing it and then giving it to you to do another intro, it just kind of it doesn't flow right. All right,
Yeah.
just the way I'm imagining it. So, all right. So I'll just nix all this and we'll just start with you, Johanna.
and we're recording.
Yeah.
We're live now.
Sorry, I'm just thinking about how to intro myself.
Yeah, don't and I was gonna say don't say, hey, I'm Johanna, but you know what I mean? Like
No. Yeah.
don't do an intro. Just start going, and then.
Okay. Yeah. So this episode.
Just
This week.
I was gonna say pretend like the song is playing, because you
Okay.
kick it off with that, right?
Yeah.
So pretend like the song is playing, and then just kick it off from there.
Okay. So this is a song that was playing at the beginning of this week's episode, during which Deanna, her husband, and their son were having some sort of weird funeral, and it was on his run mix. So it's starting off, and I just found it really interesting. Full disclosure, I'm the biggest Nine Inch Nails fan on earth. I think that this is probably one of my favorite songs off their album.
Johanna, what are you talking about?
I'm talking about how the song is talking about how several people on the show
What
have
show?
been Walking Dead. What do you expect?
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Thank you.
Anyway, so should I continue with the intro, or are there any more questions?
Go ahead. You're doing great.
I'm gonna start again.
Okay. Just
All right.
yeah, so that Lorenzo doesn't jump in and interrupt you again. Just mention that we're talking about The Walking Dead because you mentioned Deanna and you
Oh
mentioned Deanna and you mentioned
yeah. See,
her husband,
Malik,
but you didn't
I
mention The
like
Walking Dead.
suck at this intro stuff.
No. I mean, you were doing fine. It wasn't until Lorenzo mentioned it that I realized that you hadn't actually said the name of the
Yeah.
show that we were talking
Oh,
about.
I
So,
thought Lorenzo was just being Lorenzo.
oh, he was, but he was doing it in his Lorenzo fashion. That's all.
I see. Okay. Sorry, this is really hard.
No, I mean, it was great. You just didn't mention Walking Dead. That was all.
Okay.
I mean, technically, you could just mention it now and say, and of course, I'm talking about last night's episode of The Walking Dead, and then we can just.
I set you up. You could have just kept going, but whatever.
Oh man. Okay, and sorry, I hate doing the fucking intro. I sound like a fucking idiot. Okay, so
all
the
right,
song.
let's
No, I'm gonna do it.
Okay, I was gonna say.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm
I
gonna do
can
it.
tee you up. I just thought of a way I can tee you up as a conversation between the two of us.
Okay, you tee me up. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Great. So Johanna, it's a conversation. It's a conversation. Let's.
I'm so sorry.
You say, Johanna, did you recognize that song that's playing right now?
Exactly. That's what I was just getting ready to say.
You would think that I've never recorded a podcast before. I'm so sorry.
It's fine. All right.
I'm not feeling well. I've got 4 hours of sleep this morning, flight from Rochester. Anyway.
No problem.
Okay, Malik.
All right.
Go.
So Johanna.
Sorry. Okay, no. I swear it's gonna work now. It's gonna work. All right.
Okay.
All right.
You can hear me fine.
I can hear you.
Okay. All right.
Okay. All right.
All right. So Johanna.
Yeah. What's going on?
I noticed while we were watching The Walking Dead, the most recent episode of The Walking Dead, there was a really interesting intro music to this week's episode. Did you happen to know anything about that?
I certainly do, because the song is by my favorite band ever, Nine Inch Nails, and one of my favorite songs off one of my favorite albums of theirs, and is the first song on the album, and it was really interesting, the choice, because the show doesn't usually play music, contemporary music or anything that kind of hasn't been composed by whoever composes the music for Walking Dead. And what I found like a very interesting thread is just the song is about people trying really hard to be something else, hence the episode title, and realizing that they're just not it. Like, it's like, tried so hard to be like you, and then one of the lines is, shedding skin, succumb defeat, this machine is obsolete. So it's about kind of like realizing that you're rotten, like you have like this rotten core, like the song says, and like no matter what you do, like you just can't get rid of it, and it's like, so fuck it. And I think a couple of the characters were doing that. And then the second part of that is that the song talks about how like people swear that they'll never change, and then everything is different. And I think we see that we'll talk about it, but I think there's this theme of like, you can't like hide what you are, no matter how much you try, and unfortunately what you are is poisoned, is rotten. And then the other part is that within that, like, people will kind of pledge that they're not going to change with each other, and then changing the circumstances, they will, like they do change, and it leads to a sense of abandonment for some of the characters.
So it's an interesting dynamic, what you said. I didn't know the song myself prior to. I will full disclosure. I'm not a huge fan of Nine Inch Nails. It's not to say that I don't know them or I don't like them. I just don't really know the band too well. But this was definitely a song that seemed rather ominous, given the situation that was going on, and given what was literally going on in that scene, in the opening scene, as Deanna is mourning the loss of her son. So I think that there's a few things that we definitely learned from this episode. Obviously we learned that, hey, for Joe mentioned a lot of time, everybody hates Chris. Well, everybody seems to miss Chris. Everybody seems to have a different people seem to have a take on what happened, and basically what these people from Alexandria really are about. Some are getting the full crash course right ahead of schedule, and others are just learning as things kind of progress. Daryl's learning more. Well, Daryl's learning more about what's going on outside of the walls. Rick is learning a lot more about what's going on inside of the walls. Sasha's pretty much just being a badass Rambo chick, and we're liking where we're going, right, Lorenzo?
I mean, I thought the show has a good pace. It's taking us towards a definite finale that is happening next week, and I don't know about Joe, but I am excited about what we're going to see next week after all that's unfolded this week, where Rick is in this particular juncture in his life. I'm definitely looking forward to see what happens with him, happening with that Craven fellow that I guess he was the one that actually stole Rick's gun. What's his name, Johanna?
The guy who stole Rick's gun.
The coward.
The coward,
Oh,
the Craven,
Andrew Keegan.
Okay, yeah.
Sorry, I call him Andrew Keegan.
Is he Andrew? Who is Andrew Keegan? It doesn't matter. Yeah, so I mean, obviously a lot of stuff is going to go down next week, and I'm super excited about it, and I'm interested to know how Joe feels about it, actually.
Fortunately, I feel the same way that I felt for a lot of this season. Not much happened except in the end of this episode where Rick goes a little batshit crazy over Jesse.
A little.
A
mean,
little.
The guy's got blood pouring off his face. He looked like the character from
well, it's not his.
Psycho. He looked like
some of it's
like
his
American
blood.
Psycho.
But it's like not much happened. Sasha's gone crazy. We know Sasha's a little crazy now. We've known that for a few episodes. How many times am I going to see Michonne tell Sasha to stop? Once was enough.
Right, but Michonne actually took the initiative at the end. I wasn't expecting her to be the one that came and smacked Rick on the back of the head.
Michonne's thinking like, I got someplace to be. I think there were a couple of things going through Michonne's head. I think, she doesn't want to lose the community, but she also doesn't want Rick looking like some crazy dude, so she knocked him out and saved them from himself, basically. Like I told you guys, I don't disagree with Rick as far as what he thinks should be happening, but he can't get his point across when he sounds like a crazy dude. And him sounding like that, Michonne had to step in and silence him to save him from himself. But what Rick was saying, I believe, is on point. Deanna's idea of taking care of things is either sweeping it under the rug, pretend like it's not happening, a la Jessie getting beaten by her husband, or exiling people. And exiling people is not the smartest thing to do, especially if you're exiling them thinking they're going to die. If they don't die, then they could always come back. They know where you are. They know who the weakness is, if any, in this mini fortress she has, and exploit it and take over and come up with different people. I mean, she has no clue of how things work outside the walls, and Rick does, and he's trying to tell her, but he needs to do it in a more calm way. It looks like this is heading for war.
On the other hand, they could have just taking control. And I think you're right, that Michonne was like in a way saving him from himself, because if anything, he could have just like hung back and talked to them, and I'm pretty sure everybody would have been in on just like taking control of Alexandria.
Community, yeah. I mean, they have the guns. He has a gun. Carol has a gun, and Daryl turned down the gun, right? So, I mean, you've got at least two people with guns in there against people who don't have any guns. I'm still not clear as to actually how many people live there. I mean, we've seen some people. I don't think we've seen
I think
everybody.
they've said that it's like 50 now.
50? Yeah, I don't think we've seen 50 people. Maybe at the party that they had, but
no, we've seen like the like a loop of like 10 or 15 people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, you have to make the assumption that there are more people there. Yeah, I just think, Rick's on the right track, and she needs to like straighten up and start listening to Rick, because he knows the real deal, and she has absolutely no clue what she's doing. I mean, clearly it's gotten them this far, but Rick can come in and take him over the hump.
But see, Joe, my whole point there is that this is not the reason that she brought Rick in. She didn't bring Rick in for him to change the dynamic and change the way things were being run in Alexandria. If anything,
she was stupid, and that was a dumb move.
Whether it was or it wasn't, that's not why Rick and. But that's what I'm saying. We understand this is not why Rick and his team were initially recruited. By Alan, whatever his name is, and brought to Alexandria in the first place. They were brought there because, with their skills at survival, and with their abilities, and the fact that they, existed as this like, tight-knit, close-knit family or group or community, that they figured that this would be a group that you could bring in and you could kind of assimilate to your way of lifestyle, and they could use their skills and their abilities to, of killing zombies and just kind of the way that they have been able to survive, to add to what already is currently working in Alexandria. See, what winds up happening is, Rick's way of doing things, and it's been Rick's, and honestly speaking, it's interesting how this has happened, because Rick's way of doing things in the very, very beginning of the show, when he first starts out with this group, is to assess and is to look at situations from multiple angles and multiple levels before making a decision. And a lot of the reason why he was second guessed on a lot of his decisions earlier on in the show was because he didn't quote unquote react to the situation, or just react when things happened. And now he's pretty much turned that corner, and now he's reacting to things, and he's looking at people who are trying to either assess or trying to have their own way of managing problems. He's looking at them like they're assholes and like they're idiots. And so an interesting thing that kind of jumps out to me is that a lot of what Rick is doing and a lot of the way Rick is acting kind of mirrors the way Shane was acting, and the reason why he wound up killing, and one of the reasons why he wound up killing Shane, because Shane's initial idea in the very beginning, in season 2, and correct me if I'm wrong, you guys, but initial idea was he was all about saving Carl and Lori and Rick, basically, by proxy, because they were his family. That was his group. And he didn't really care about everybody else, and he was fully prepared to go, to say screw everybody else, and like, this is our group, and let's just keep this group together, and I'm going to save that baby that's in her stomach, and Carl, who I've grown to love, and this woman who I've grown to be very, very close to, and I'm even willing to accept the fact that you're back in our lives, but I'm willing to kill you if necessary so I can keep what I want. But it was all about him just reacting to save the people and save the community that he had cherished, and now Rick has this same exact interest in saving his own people and saving his own community, and he's not willing to capitulate in any way, shape, or form to any other ideas if they don't match his own.
Yeah, I think the big difference between Rick and Shane is that Shane was willing to kill people in his own group if that meant his own survival.
Well,
and I don't think Rick would do something like that.
But technically, the people in Alexandria are now his group, You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. This is the
Yeah,
whole
I don't
point
think
of it.
that.
He doesn't.
and-
He may not identify with them the same way that he identifies with Michonne and the rest of them. But simply by coming into this community and becoming a member of this community, and becoming the constable of this community,
yeah,
you know,
that's all for show. I mean,
by reference, so these are his people. I mean, look, clearly he's out there trying to save Pete's
Yeah,
life,
but
and
it's
this
yeah,
is
but
not his
like what I was
we've
responsibility.
made it
saying.
clear that he's got, as Johanna likes to go, the 18. Those are his people.
I mean, he even
And
said
plus,
that he wouldn't have done it for just anybody. He did it for
Yeah.
her because he likes her.
he likes her.
It's like I was saying that this is the community, and he's got his family, and since she's pretty hot, he'll let her into his family. But as far as everybody else, I think he could take them or leave them, and he'd just as soon throw them all out or actually kill them, right? Because he doesn't believe in exile, so that means he's going to kill everybody in that community if they stand against him.
Yeah, which is the right thing to do.
I'm not saying it's the wrong thing to do, and I think that Deanna was a fool if she thought, like, if she didn't see that. She claims to know people, but if she couldn't predict that he was going to take control of the community, and if she couldn't predict that what's his name, the child abuser, I mean the wife beater guy, Pete, yeah, that she thought he was going to get better. Yeah, that just shows an incredible amount of naivety on her part. Naivety.
No, I think it's
Johanna,
naivete, isn't it?
as long as we're correcting people, there's been a plethora of songs used on The Walking Dead. The first episode.
Plethora? It's plethora.
There was
Plethora?
Wait.
Are you making polenta with some plethora?
Wang Chung was on the very first episode. So.
So what did Wang Chung mean in that episode?
Everybody have fun tonight.
Yeah, they were all about like everybody having fun. It was that song. It was that song Space Junk, and
but this song was obviously.
I think sometimes you feel like you're just stranded, left out in space, and in that particular, when they used that song, it was when Rick was, I think, trapped underneath the tank, and all the zombies were surrounding him, and I think he felt like Space Junk. Bad Moon Rising, Jamie Connors, Ben Nichols.
Sounds like you're reading off a list.
I looked it up. Let me see, 10 best songs used by The Walking Dead, and the first one was Space Junk from Wang Chung, and I do remember that. And I mean, they've used a lot of music throughout the seasons of Walking Dead.
But I think it's been significant. Was my point.
Johanna, you were going to say something about the whole community and Rick's reactions and everything?
Yeah, just because Lorenzo's been talking about like family versus community, but it's very interesting that in this episode you see the family like falling apart in terms of just what sides they're falling on. And I mean, Papa Rick, I mean, I don't know how many people are going to be on his side now. Like I think Beth, Jesus, Carol had a very ambiguous look on her face when he had his little moment, and I don't even know what she's going to do. And then Sasha might have similar ideas, but she's really far gone. I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, I mean, because Glenn straight up says, like, we are them, like, this is us. And Rick doesn't necessarily feel like that. Michonne, like, just punches him. She's wearing the uniform. She feels like she's part of the community. Maggie, wherever she was this episode. So I just don't know.
Yeah,
where is the family? Yeah, no, like she's very like okay, so I'm not the only one who's noticed this.
Yeah, you're right. She hasn't been around for significant minutes lately.
We know she's like Deanna's deputy, basically.
Right. Yeah. I mean, one thing just speaking about Maggie, is one thing I'm actually found it interesting is that in this episode, they did not touch on at all Gabriel's situation.
Yeah.
What Gabriel did, and Maggie overhearing Gabriel's confession of, if you will, to Deanna about the community, about the people that
weird,
they brought
all of that would have been really relevant in like informing Rick on how to proceed. I would have thought.
Right.
I think it informs Deanna.
Well,
And also, yeah, and
obviously,
also
of course,
kind of
right. And
reforming
you can
Deanna's
see that
reaction.
she's moving forward, and you get the sense that she is moving forward with what Gabriel told her.
Yeah.
But you definitely don't get the sense that Rick is moving forward knowing that Gabriel told her that stuff. He should know that.
Right,
Like
and you
by
figure
now.
that would probably been the first thing that Maggie would have done, is going to Rick and let him know that that there's a snake in the grass. You know what I mean? Like that this guy
Mhm.
is out here telling company secrets and stuff. You know.
They're saving it for the finale, guys. That 90-minute finale.
Yeah, I mean, in the trailer for next week, the teaser or whatever, they did show Gabriel like coming in from out of the cold.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I understand where you guys are coming from, and Lorenzo, you're completely right by saying that hey, what Swim was a fool for, thinking that
She
she
could control them.
she
Yeah,
could control, right, that she could just get them to assimilate. But I think that initially that was the plan, and I think that an interesting thing that they kept alluding to. I think that the reason why she brought them initially was because they lost the rest of their group. They lost that group. I don't know how many people they lost in the initial time when her son went out and they lost a bunch of their
well,
people.
he counted them up. It was four. They lost four.
Yeah, so they just needed to replenish. Obviously, they need to replenish whatever they had already lost over time, right? So she probably just thought, oh, we could just bring these people in, and then trusting Eric is his name, whatever that guy's name, Adam, trusting his judgment in what he saw with these people. And the thing about it is that he's not wrong, right? Rick and his people they're not bad people. They're just people that have learned how to survive in a very, very
Mm.
specific manner, and it completely contradicts with the way that these people in Alexandria have learned to survive.
Right, but they've just been lucky. Like eventually, they would have been another terminus. It was just a matter of time before they would have been turned into another terminus. People
At
that
some point,
couldn't
yes.
control would have come in. Basically, what Rick's done. The fact is, they were lucky that it was Rick and not somebody else.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, somebody else, depending upon they clearly don't have a backbone in this community. They clearly don't have they don't have a method of dealing with situations and dealing with circumstance things like this. And the fact that Pete has been basically allowed to beat his wife and beat his family,
Mhm.
incessantly for obviously a long period of time because everyone knows about it.
Right,
You
but
know,
what can you do if she's not saying anything about it?
well, this isn't like this is no longer the world that we currently live in, where a woman could be being beaten by her husband, and the rest of the community can be seeing it happen and not call the police.
But they don't
Or
see it happening.
I
Yeah, but
think
they
Don't have
know
the
it's
also
TV.
happening.
though.
Yeah, it's
every
one thing to know something's happening. It's another thing to like have proof that it's happening. It's another thing entirely when she's saying, "I want you to leave," and he's not leaving.
But the true motive is that he's a surgeon. Like I mean, that's what Deanna said. Is just, I mean, she could be trying to leave. They could be seeing it. It doesn't matter because the reason they're kind of keeping him there is because he knows how to like fix people like physically.
Right, but if she would have come out and said, I don't want him living with us anymore, then that would have brought it to a head, and something would have had to have been done. But by not saying anything, she's allowed the situation to kind of be swept under the rug.
You mean the wife?
Deanna hasn't been put in that, whatever her name is, the wife.
Yeah.
Deanna hasn't been put in that hasn't been put in that position of like, okay, I got to choose A or B now.
Yeah, I mean, there's no real choice there. She's gonna choose the doctor.
That's not true. No,
She
she
has no
wouldn't.
skills.
No, she wouldn't have just. That's not the way this community works. If she had come out and said that he can't be there anymore, then something would have had to have been done. Like she wouldn't have just like ignored her. She wouldn't have like exiled her and her son. No, not because he was. She would have had to make a tough like she would have had to figure something out. But since she didn't do that, then Deanna was able to like sweep it under the rug with a somewhat clean conscience.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And that's where I think that Rick, that although Rick definitely has the right mindset when he's looking at these situations, but I think that he's jumped the gun a little bit because you have to me one thing about like in these types of situations is you kind of at some point in time like they're not in any real danger from outside, or at least they don't know it yet. They don't know the kind of danger that they're getting ready to look at. I mean, Daryl knows, and Adam, the guy that he's running around, they kind of have an idea that something's really fishy on the outside of these walls. Something's really weird going on, but inside they don't know, right? So I think Rick's jumping the gun a little bit by kind of forcing this decision upon them, and not really allowing them to kind of come to have that moment that Lorenzo was talking about, to come to their own distinction as to like what's going on, and we need to fix this, right? This is not something you asked him to be the constable, meaning you've asked him to basically be the sheriff, and he's bringing something to you, and he's saying to you that the way that you're handling it is not the right way to handle this situation. We have to figure out a different way of doing this. So rather than just walking into that guy's house and beating the shit out of him, and pretty much offering to kill him and ready to kill him right away, there had to been an opportunity for the community and for Deanna and for the people that have been in charge and been there for all this time to come to a decision.
Well, hold on a second, Malik. When he went into the house, Rick did not start the fight, if I remember correctly. He was just going to walk him out.
No, he was,
he was going to walk him out.
I
And
think
then
we
this
owe
guy
like
attacked
a
him.
public service announcement to anybody that thinks that they're going to wrestle with the cop. Cops will not wrestle with you. They will move away from you and they will shoot you in the face. So like, I don't think what Rick did in the show was accurate portrayal of what a police officer will do when they're in a hand-to-hand situation with another person.
And I was a little disappointed in Rick. I expected him to take this guy
He
out
would have.
in no time.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
in
I thought
reality,
he was gonna shoot him.
in reality, he would have killed him. I mean, in any type of situation, like in this world, in our world that we live in right now, he would have killed him. And in some post-apocalyptic world where he kills people on the daily, he would have definitely killed them.
Yeah, Rick did not go in. Rick was going to walk him out. All he had to do was walk out.
No. Rick went in there looking for that fight. He wanted that.
He may have wanted the fight, but he wasn't going to start the fight. And he let the guy. He started the fight and he finished it.
He was perfectly ready.
He let him start the fight. Plus, he let him get 2 hits into like 1 hit. He hit him back, and then the guy hit him again, and he's like, "Hey, man, chill out." And then he hit him another time. Like that was just silly. I mean, you're right. He came in there looking for a fight, and as soon as that dude threw the first punch, he should have just ended it. But he gave the guy some wiggle room.
So
unrealistic, like not true to character.
Yeah.
They just needed the situation to go forward the way that it went forward obviously for the advancement of the show. A little bit of hackery on the part of the writers, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah, definitely a lot of hackery, because the way they made this into a brawl when Rick is taking out guys like him by the dozen, not even just by shooting them with his hands.
Right. I mean,
this took way too long. I was like, whoa, what's going on here? Come on, Rick should have taken him out. Like in a couple of moves, this would have been over.
You know what they need to do is they need to bring in the writing staff of The Flash. And then they can, actually have some like quality shows.
Well, no, I would say I would disagree with you there, Lorenzo. As good as The Flash is, I would say you would call in the people from Arrow, because they do action really well on Arrow. And there's a lot of hand-to-hand combat in Arrow. So they should have called them.
Yeah, I mean, for the fight, okay. For the rest of the show, that's ridiculous. I was kidding. I was joking, Joe.
No.
Yes.
I don't think anybody heard the sarcasm in your voice.
Flash is a stupid show, and I know I'm stupid too for saying so.
I'm glad you admitted it.
Yeah, but I mean, come on, Malik, come on. So, just for those people at home that didn't hear this, Joe claims that Flash
why are you bringing this up?
Than The Walking Dead.
Because
I want Malik to come out and tell you that you're wrong.
What, even if Malik agrees with you, that doesn't make me wrong. It just makes the person that agrees with you. That's all.
Malik, settle this.
Look, they're clearly two completely different. It's hard to me. It's like somebody that watches one can't really watch both and look at them both the same way. They're like entirely different shows. One is a lot more fluff, and one is a lot more fun, and definitely a lot less morbid, and the other is The Walking Dead. So, like, The Walking Dead and Flash. I mean, yeah, maybe how can you really compare the two? From a standpoint, I guess from writing, acting, like the same
It doesn't
basic
matter. It
basic
just comes down
parameters
to
that you
preference, Malik.
compare.
It's like if you were given a choice, and right now, if I was given a choice, do you want to watch an episode of Flash or you want to watch an episode of Walking Dead? I would pick an episode of The Flash because I think there's just more going on. It's more entertaining. It keeps me engaged. Where I feel like I could walk away from The Walking Dead for 5 minutes and come back and not miss anything. Where if I'm watching The Flash, if I walk away for 5 minutes, I feel like I might miss something, some information, and then I have to come back and watch it.
But like
So.
a flashlight would keep a cat engaged for a long period of time.
Oh God.
Oh my gosh.
I think
Yes,
I
a flashlight
think I
could keep
would
a cat
say
engaged. Yes, it could.
I think I would say that I would prefer to watch an episode of The Walking Dead just simply because of the fact that from episode to episode there is there's no guarantee that a character that you saw in an episode last week will be in an episode next week. And because of that, and you can absolutely miss an episode. You can absolutely miss an episode of The Flash, and because they're kind of episodic and they're kind of one shots, especially now. I mean, with an overarching story, but there are these one shot episodes there that you can watch an episode. You can miss an episode of Flash and catch up. Whereas if you miss an episode of The Walking Dead, even if it's one of these episodes that's kind of a filler or exposition or a character development episode or something along those lines, like you're liable to miss something pretty important to the full run of the show. So,
Can you give me an example of that? I'd like to know if I missed
Oh, come on.
episodes. If I missed, Lorenzo, you brought it up. If I missed episodes 12 and 13, outside of like a couple of deaths, I mean, what else did I really miss?
well, I mean, if you literally just so let's say you skipped last week's episode and you
Last week
started
was
watching,
good. That wasn't one though. He said 12 or 13.
I mean, I just pulled those
Which one
numbers
was
out of my
good?
ass.
But
I don't
obviously,
really know.
14 was a big deal. 14 was last week's episode, and that had a lot of stuff that happened in it that was important. So I imagine you're not talking about that one. And then 12 was the one where Abraham, I think, had to save the crew. No, that was 13.
No,
yeah.
that was yeah.
That was 13. Yeah, and so it's just like you see it's about character development, Joe.
I
It's
understand.
about like situational development.
I
It's
totally
about being
get that.
able, like,
And
getting that
I'm not.
three-dimensional.
Okay, I'm not saying I hate the show. Not at all. I mean, I still.
I'm answering your question though. I'm answering your question. That's what you missed. You missed.
Yeah, I miss character development. Okay, that's not much.
It's what the show's all about, Joe. Like if you're watching it and not understanding that, then you're missing out like on the main. Like,
No, I get
point
it.
of
There's
the entire
just too
show.
much. There's just too much character development. It's too much. Too much.
All right. It's yeah.
It
See
could be
what the-
abbreviated.
The Flash is like a nerd who runs fast. It's like that's all I need to know.
What?
That's all I need
That's
to
it.
know.
It's simple. It's fun.
I don't even think I know what the Flash is.
Yeah. That's
So-
okay.
Well, you need to just concentrate on the Avengers.
Oh gosh, you guys.
Yeah.
So that's it for tonight's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We're all looking forward to the 90-minute finale that's coming next weekend, next Sunday. The Walking Dead will be. Let's not for nothing. I think that we know that this will be the show that everybody's talking about. There's going to be probably a fair number of deaths, maybe of some important characters, maybe of some non-important characters, but at the very least. Hopefully they'll leave us with some kind of a solution to this Alexandria situation while introducing us to the next, whatever's next for this group. So,
Joe, I said it once. I'll say it again. Alexandria's gonna burn.
I don't think it's gonna burn.
It
I
might,
wonder
but
if it's-
I don't think it'll burn yet.
I
Yeah,
think at the end of this season they'll still be in Alexandria.
But we need to find out about the W's and the disemboweled girl.
Yeah, I think that's next season. I think I think
George
that's
Bush
next
is
season.
making a
W.
cameo.
Yeah, I think that stuff is all going to be explained next season. I think that this episode coming up is going to have a lot dealing with the the end of what we currently know as Alexandria, and
Mm.
whatever
I'll agree
new
with that.
The
beginning,
beginning of
whatever
the
new
Ricktocracy.
pretty much.
So it's gonna
Joe, would you agree with that?
again another dictatorship.
Would
We
you
had that
agree
at the
that
end of season 2.
Would you agree that Alexandria is over as it now exists?
What do you mean as far as like leadership?
As far as what everybody knows Alexandria to be at this point.
No, I think the only difference is Rick is going to take over.
Well, that's a pretty big difference.
Yeah, but I mean, the house, everything will still be there. They'll still be doing the same things they're doing now, except Rick will be in charge.
All right. Well, we'll see. Let's figure it all out. We got 90 minutes to watch it next Sunday. So for Joe, Lorenzo, and Johanna, I am Malik. We are the Agents of Helm. Tune in later this week. We'll have another show for you. And I hope you enjoyed tonight's episode again. And we'll see you next week. Peace out.
The Flash is better.